It's always interesting when you get an inside scoop on an issue from somebody who has worked at, for example, DuPont, Pioneer, and learned firsthand what goes into those GMO soybeans. We'll have a conversation about that. Today we'll also talk about the campaign to oust Justice David Wiggins. But first, Joe Corbin, candidate for the State House, is going to join me here shortly on the Fallon Forum.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
This moment of silence brought to you by Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering, home of Des Moines' premier rooftop dining experience. Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage. Open Sesame is Des Moines' premier Lebanese cafe. This month, Open Sesame is offering an unbeatable lunch special on Monday and Tuesdays. Mention the Fallon Forum when you order anything on Open Sesame's delicious lunch menu and get the second item for half price. That's right, buy one, get one for half price. Open Sesame's pita wraps, salads, soup, and mouth-watering Mideastern specialties will have you and your dining partner coming back again and again. Open Sesame at 313 East Locust Street in Des Moines' historic East Village.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Stop calling me on my cell phone just before the show starts. Come on, what are you thinking? Who's that? It's not my attorney, is it? No. Good. Whew. Hey, folks, welcome to the Fallon Forum. I want to thank Brother Trucker for providing some great bumper music to kick us off. I want to thank Physicians for Social Responsibility and the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club, and one of our business clients in particular, Gateway Market, for sponsoring this segment of our conversation. Later in the show, we're going to talk about GMOs, that's genetically modified organisms. Big week coming up next week, whether you are pro-GMO or more pro-sustainable ag. The World Food Prize and a lot of response against it for the first time in its history. I'm going to talk about the perspective of a person who worked with a temp agency on the inside in DuPont's crop fields out there in Johnston. We're also going to talk, hopefully, with Tim Dwight. We've been trying to get this guy on the show, and maybe it'll work this time. But first, I am delighted to have Joe Corbin in the studio with me. You know, I've been trying to get candidates lined up to debate on this program. Just face-to-face, take the entire hour to lay out your strategy, your ideas, your goals, back and forth. And I tell you, we've had two really, really good debates between Marty Anderson and Jeff Ibbotson. And gosh, now I'm blanking on the other one. Bruce Hunter and Patty Bronco. Two really excellent debates with candidates that were very civil. I mean, it was all, and I'm thinking, why can't the VP candidates, why can't Boswell and Latham, why can't the other candidates be that nice to each other? I'll be honest with you, I thought Obama was pretty decent. I didn't think he was negative and nasty. But, why can't we all be Iowa nice? Anyway, Joe, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
And you're here on your own because your opponent, Ruth Ann Gaines, the Democrat, I think you contacted her as well, right?
Right.
Yeah, and did you email her?
Email. Yep.
Okay. and I called her and I emailed her as well. No, not even a courtesy of a response, which bothers me. I mean, if you are an elected official, you have an obligation to respond to people who want to talk with you, who want to know where you stand, who want to give your constituents and the public beyond your district a chance to know where you stand on the issue. So disappointed that you aren't willing to come on and have that conversation. But Joe, since you are, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And why are you running? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's what my friends are kind of asking me too. I'm just a normal person. I work 48 hours a week to try to pay my bills and put food on the table. I'm just kind of fed up with, well, what it basically boils down to is I feel like people are being attracted to these positions of power because they want control over the lives of their fellow citizens. And I think that's the main thing. I think the main goal of any political action should be the defense of liberty. And I feel like anymore, what's happening is they're making all these rules for our lives and basically saying you're not smart enough to run your own life. You're not, if left to your own vices, you're going to do something that's, is not good for society. So it's kind of a general opinion of how they feel basic citizens are, and I feel like they don't respect us enough to let us run our own lives.
So you sound like a libertarian, not a Republican. Are you in the wrong party?
Quite possibly. My views are very libertarian. I believe in personal liberty. I think.
So pro-choice?
Well, that's kind of where it's a little.
That was quick. It used to take you a little bit longer to find somebody's.
Well, and the reason behind that, and why I think I remain consistent in my pro-life views, is the fact that I feel like it is government's responsibility, period, to defend life, liberty, and property. Not on a federal level as far as abortion goes. I think that should be a state issue. But I think, I think
so
honestly,
why is it a state issue? I mean, why should any government level, whether it's state or federal, have the right to tell a woman that somebody else has a responsibility, has the right to tell her what to do with a medical choice that she has to make?
But I also look at that as you're just looking at it from the woman's rights. What about the baby's rights? That's a person as well. If left to if nobody tampered with the fetus, it would grow and mature to a full adult human being with the same rights. With the same rights that we all have.
That's a big if, and that's like a philosophical debate that has been raging for thousands of years and probably will continue to do so.
Right. Yeah, no, it's one of those things. You just, I feel like all life is precious and it needs defended. And
so a baby conceived in rape?
No, well, that's, there's exceptions.
That's also gonna grow to be a child.
Right, absolutely. But there's also, there's the morning after pills. You can't regulate something like that. I think if someone was in a situation with rape and they went to the hospital, they filed their police reports, did all that, I think the hospital should actually offer them a morning after pill. Say, obviously there's a chance you could be pregnant. Would you like this pill? And you can't regulate that anyway, because for all that person could go home and take that pill. So how do you really regulate that?
But what if they don't realize they're pregnant, are embarrassed by it, by the fact that they were raped? They don't take that initiative. What if they discover that they're pregnant 3 or 4 months later?
But does it take 5 months to decide you don't want that baby? That's my question.
Well, it may take several months to find out they have been impregnated.
Right, but I think you should be a little proactive. That if
but here you are making an opinion about what this person should do.
No, I'm not making an opinion on what this person should do. I just think that if they went to the hospital and did the rape test and all that, I think that should be kind of given that there's a chance you could be pregnant. If you take that pill, is it going to you could take that pill regardless if you are or not. And if you are, it'll take care of that. If you're not, what harm did it do?
Well, and I don't want to take up the whole time on this one issue, but you said personal liberty, so I thought I'd throw that one.
No, for sure.
I would throw one more at you.
Right.
Gay marriage.
I think gay people have just as much right to get married as straight people.
Wow, and that could be the future of the Republican Party even.
Yeah,
we'll see, because I don't think Bob Vanderplas just needs to go away.
It's a wedge issue, is what it is. I mean, don't we have more important things to deal with than what it boils down to is human rights. Every human is born with the same rights, whether you're gay, straight, black, white. It really doesn't matter. You are born with the same rights, and government should make no law prohibiting those rights. Mm-hmm. And they should. And on another note on that is, that's why I think democracies are very dangerous, because 51% of the people can vote away 49% of the people's rights. You know, they're talking about voting on gay marriage. Well, isn't that essentially what that is? If the majority of Iowans decide gay people can't get married, that's the majority violating the rights of the minority.
Yeah, if we had a vote on interracial marriage back in the 70s, I'll bet it would still be against the law in some states for black and white people, white and Asian people, you know, who you name it. I think it would still be illegal for them to marry in some states.
Absolutely, and that's why you can't allow the public to vote on personal liberties.
All right, well, you're batting 500 in the Fallon scorecard, which, for what that's worth. Anyway, so beyond that, you focused on liberty, and so what does that mean, for example, in terms of the economy and government's role in the economy?
I think government needs to stop partnering with corporations. I think government has a role to defend liberty and make sure they defend property rights, personal liberties, and life.
So would you be against the $251 million in taxpayer support that went to the Egyptian fertilizer company?
Absolutely. I'm against all subsidies. I think to take money from a group of people who half the time don't even use some of the things if you subsidize high speed rail, I'm not going to use that. Why should my tax dollars go for that? I think.
But by that argument, we should also do away with subsidies for roads.
Well, at the same time, you got gas taxes that come out of that, and if you really get really technical on it, that's disproportionately as well. It's because the rural roads cost a lot less to maintain and make, but yet the gas taxes that everybody's subsidizing, they're all paying the same amount, even whether you live in the rural area or the urban area.
It's not just gas taxes. It's the sales tax on automobiles, of course, is diverted. Most sales tax goes to the general fund, or a local purpose, a school issue, or in a city for city functions. When it comes to cars, it all goes to a targeted fund.
Right.
I'm thinking, why not take the sales tax from every shoe that we buy and target that towards sidewalk repairs?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but then who decides where that money goes? You know what I mean?
Well,
that's the problem. I think coercing people through taxation is wrong in my opinion, because I think a lot of times they end up funding things that they don't necessarily approve of.
So would you do away with taxation?
Ideally I would like to, but obviously that's probably not something that is.
So you've gone from being a Republican to a libertarian to perhaps an anarchist.
No. I believe in the role of government. I believe in the rule of law.
How does government fund itself then?
Well, through there's many ways government can fund itself. How do they fund themselves prior to the income tax? The income tax didn't get instituted till right before World War II. So how did they fund themselves before that? There's ways to do things. There's, you have. It kind of put me on the spot. I'm trying to think here. No, there are corporate gains tax. I'm not against corporate gains tax.
Capital gains?
Or capital gains. I'm sorry.
Well, you may be the only Republican running for office who's not against capital gains tax.
Well, to a certain, you.
Oh, sorry, I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's they had. I don't believe in tariffs. Obviously, I don't think going back to the tariff is a good idea.
Well, they said terrorists.
No tariff.
Tariffs.
Oh,
sorry.
We want to talk about tariffs. We can no. I think there's ways that government can fund itself without taking. There's so many taxes now. You got property tax, sales tax, income tax.
Well, there are literally probably hundreds of ways that government extracts revenue.
Right.
But if you believe that the government has some purpose, maybe that's the question: is what purpose does government have?
I think its purpose is to defend liberty. Just period.
What does that mean?
To defend your life, liberty, and property. I don't think.
What does the government do?
Well,
to do
if someone violates your property or your liberties, then government has a role to step in and use the judicial system to.
So basically, it's the military, which is a federal issue. It's the police department, which is a local issue, and it's the state patrol. So you'd basically downsize government to the point that all we had left was the state patrol?
No. See, the thing is,
my friends in the Iowa State Patrol.
No, we just have to realize what the role of government should be, and I think that too many people have given the role of government, given it too many hats, so to speak. And I think first of all, we can't afford it to wear all those hats, and the fact is, when they put on those hats, they don't wear them too well. They most of the time they're run inefficiently. The bureaucracy is rampant. You know, it's crazy. Most of the things that the government runs doesn't run profit.
So what about education?
Education, I think, honestly, is the key to helping helping poverty. You know, stopping poverty. I think education, I think, has been so tied down in this federal bureaucracy. You know, once you get hooked on the federal dole, you know, you get hooked on that federal money coming in.
I mean, but there's not a lot of federal money, and I would argue that the federal role should be very specific and very minimal.
Right.
But 2/3 of the state budget goes to education.
Right, but for the lack of federal money coming in, they sure got a lot of say in what the agenda is in the schools.
I agree, too much.
And that is too much.
But I mean, you've got the biggest chunk of money from the state till goes to K through 12 schools.
Right. Well, see, and I think another way of that, I think we need school competition. I think.
Isn't that what football season's all about?
yeah, to an extent, yeah. No, you know, we're all individuals. We're all different. You probably don't like what I like. You know, everybody likes different things.
I like your outfit.
Thank you. No, we're all good at different things. You know what I mean? So what it is to basically mold every growing person into the same mold. You know, put them all in this one school system, and it's like getting every animal in the woods to do a test climbing a tree. You know, some are going to succeed and some aren't.
It doesn't work really well for the rabbits in the woods.
No, exactly. So you have to kind of design your schools, and this is a long answer. It's not really something I could sum up in 2 minutes, but you have to open the market for competition in schools. You have to, you know, some people are going to be good mathematicians, some people are going to be good chemists. But not everybody is cut out for the classics.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice our dropout rates are always, you know, they're high. So, you know, I think these forced attendance laws are also a bad thing, because I think that you know.
So hooky is okay?
No, it's not that I'm saying hookie's okay, but I think that if people who made, you know, young people who've made the decision to not into this, I'm not in school, I don't care about it, they've made that decision. If you have other schools out there, other options that you could go in and learn some training to actually produce something, or some type of vocational or you know, I think just we need different charter schools, different private schools. I think, and if you really want to get to the point where, you know, well, it's a key to society, we have to fund these schools so we don't, you know, inflict ignoramuses on the public. You know, we inflict plenty of ignoramuses on the public, and they go to public schools,
and they go to Congress.
Yeah. I mean, so you have to create competition in the market, and also the fact is, property taxes, you know, and zoning laws, you get into stuff like that, and these zoning restrictions prevent people, mostly poorer people, from building in these more suburban communities.
Well, but zoning laws also prevent somebody from coming in next door to you and building
a shack,
a shack or a factory that pollutes your groundwater,
right,
that sends their toxic fumes down into your
living
room, or to build a hog confinement next door so you can no longer hang out your laundry and have to resort to air conditioning or heating year round.
But that's an issue of property rights, because then they're violating your property.
Yeah. So on a hog confinements, would you support tougher regulations on corporate hog confinements?
If they're polluting, I think that it's a violation of property rights and it needs to be addressed. Yes.
Well, we would probably, if you were governor, we'd probably be closing most of them down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a property rights issue, and
no, it is, and nobody has the right to pollute someone else's land. You know, I firmly believe
or
that.
Air,
or
water.
Yeah. Okay. And if that's in public domain, then you know. It's,
so in a nutshell, I mean, this is your first attempt at political office.
It is.
Have you been involved in the Republican Party, or?
I was a district director for the Ron Paul campaign.
Okay.
I've always been a defender of liberty.
So are you voting for Ron Paul or for Mitt Romney?
We got to go there, don't we? No, honestly,
I'll take that as a Ron Paul support.
No, you know, I vote according to my beliefs, and I don't compromise as far as well, this person's better than this person, or this person's not as bad as this person. I don't do that. So
so why you instead of Ruth Ann Gaines? Well,
I just think I think our philosophies on the role of government are completely different. I think I don't know her personally. She could be a very nice lady. But I just think the role of government, that she views the role of government differently than I do. I think if you are allowed to keep more of your money, I think you can decide the best way to spend that money. And I think she thinks that government can best decide how that money's spent. And that really, to me, it is a really low bar to set on your fellow man. And because I think that a lot of people think, well, a lot of these things won't get done if the government's not there to do them. You know, who would help the poor? Who would do this and that? You know, and I think that's really not giving your fellow man much credit.
I mean, I don't. Again, since Ruth Ann declined to come on this program, I don't. I can't respond to those
Right.
observations. But I suspect that you two do feel very differently about a lot of those issues. So,
Right.
folks, if you live in the which district is it again?
32.
32. That's kind of north and east side of Des Moines.
Yeah, and it comes into downtown a little bit. It follows like 2nd Avenue and the river
Okay.
down. Yeah.
So if you're in District 32, you've got a choice: Joe Corbin or Ruth Ann Gaines. Again, do get out and vote, and remember to flip the ballot over too, because there's a bunch of stuff on the other side. And I think Joe and I will both be voting to retain Justice Wiggins, right?
Yeah, I don't
Good.
think he, he.
And more and more Republicans are coming out in favor of not mucking up the judicial retention process. Chris Rance came out with I've never used the word excellent and Chris in the same sentence before. Well, actually, I have. I'm teasing him. He's very bright. But that was a really good piece that he wrote. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but I don't know how much I'm going to have time to get into that, folks, because I do want to talk more about the GMO issue with the world food price stuff coming up. And maybe we should talk about that sometime.
I am anti-GMO all the way. I am.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it is a property rights issue, and we see big corporations using their authority to sue people, sue farmers for accidentally getting contaminated.
Cross-pollination.
But I got to go to a break. Again, Joe Corbin, if folks want to get a hold of you, where do they go?
They can go to CorbinForIowa.com.
CORBIN
Yes.
for Iowa.com. All right. Best of luck to you. Thanks
you.
for joining us. Folks, we'll be back in a few minutes. I want to talk about the GMO issue from the perspective of someone I met who was doing temp work at Pioneers Fields out in Johnston. And I do want to thank, again, all of our sponsors, including Gateway Market. Gateway is located at 20th and Woodland in downtown Des Moines, on the edge of downtown in the Sherman Hill neighborhood. And in addition to a fantastic grocery store, again, not just for the neighborhood, but it's a grocery store for the community because they've got so much stuff at good prices from local sources that you can't get in other places. They've also got a wonderful cafe that's open for breakfast, lunch, supper, a great place for meetings. One of my favorite events that I keep meaning to get to and have missed in recent months is the green drinks. I know you don't have to drink something green, but you can go there and get something to drink, something to eat, and have some great conversation about environmental issues, about energy, about issues relevant to green technology. A lot of good things go on at the Gateway Market, and that's just one of them. So, folks, do check them out at 20th and Woodland in downtown Des Moines, and we'll be back in a few minutes on the Fallon Forum.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hey folks, it's Ed Fallon. I want to tell you about saving energy and saving money. Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions will give you a comprehensive energy audit that will cost you nothing. And Tim will identify the many ways in which you can reduce energy use while saving money. Now, I had Tim over for an audit last month, and I was amazed, I tell you, at how much energy was going through the roof, out the windows, the back door. You get it. So before the cold winds of winter really blow hard, give Tim a call at 802-2801. That's 802-2801.
Host is a locally owned restaurant in downtown Des Moines that focuses its food and philosophy on embracing simplicity. The majority of Host's food is from local farmers who practice sustainable and health-conscious agriculture. Much of what you'll find on your plate is a familiar comfort food, presented with a modern and tasty interpretation. Host is open for lunch Monday through Friday from 11 to 2, and also available for private dinner events and special themed dinners throughout the month. So, check out Host at 13th and Locust in Des Moines.
With warm weather finally here, it's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
Wow, some wedding.
Yeah, I've never seen a bride in coveralls.
Right, and skipping down the aisle to accordion music.
Not to mention the reception. That wedding cake was a freaking fruit cake.
It's your wedding. Don't leave anything to chance. Diana's Wedding Cakes. Using only the finest, freshest ingredients with free on-time delivery and setup. Choose one of Diana's custom designs or create your own. Call Diana's Wedding Cakes, 641-275-9279. That's 641-275-9279.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
There is hope. Visit groundwire.net and chat now with a live coach for answers.
Oh my God, Becky, did you see her bumper? I know she's had work done. Just last week, she had dimples and stuff all over, and now look.
Yeah, dimples and stuff. Yeah.
I'm Jamie Lasher from Minor Wreck Express. We're here to help with all the dents, dings, and drama of car ownership. Call 278-0101 or visit minorwreck.com for details. We'll see you in the fast lane.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Hey, maybe you'll recognize that tune, folks. That's Ode to Jones by Mr. Baber's Neighbors, one of Iowa's greatest bluegrass bands. All right, they may not be as good as the Osborne brothers, but I would like to hear their rendition of Rocky Top someday. That is one fun tune. This segment of our show is sponsored by Reynolds Energy Solutions, and I want to talk a little bit about the election for the Justice Wiggins election, but I got, sometimes things that aren't funny have a funny side to them. Okay, so this is a little bit funny. This is the mother panda bear at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., and very sad. The panda's cub died recently, and the article, maybe we can call it an obituary, says it died due to liver and lung damage. Again, proving that smoking and drinking are not good for you, I guess. So, sorry. Couldn't resist. All right, next week is a pretty significant week here in Iowa. The food, the food capital of the world, as we're sometimes called. And more and more, with 90% of our crops being GMO, we are the GMO food capital of the world. But more and more sustainable agricultural stuff is happening. There is, I think we have the largest number of farmers markets in the country. If not just flat out, it may be per capita. We are really, we've seen a tremendous success with those. We've seen more and more community-supported farms popping up where you buy a share and you get something every week. It's got to the point where you can't even keep track of all the good stuff happening. But, next week, again, it's going to be the World Food Prize events, which, again, there is a small amount of activity the World Food Prize does that goes to recognize and encourage sustainable ag. But the majority of what they do does focus on GMOs and does focus on the agenda that corporate agriculture wants to continue to push. Also next week is the Food Sovereignty Prize, and this is an interesting event that has been going on for 4 years now that provides an award to someone across the globe who is leading the way on sustainable agriculture. This year's recipient is a woman from, I believe, South Korea. So interestingly, we'll have the World Food Prize laureate, who actually is doing pretty good work, as far as I can tell, on irrigation in the desert in Israel. And then you've got this gal doing good work from South Korea, both getting an award next week on the two different sides of the food spectrum. But, I want to get more scientific input into some of the conversations we've been having about GMOs, because I've admitted that science is not my forte. Nope, not at all. But besides scientists, folks who are actually working at Pioneer, working at Monsanto, working at ConAgra, Cargill, who see the belly of the beast from the inside, I would love to have your voices included in this program as well. And I understand that may compromise your employment situation. Now, I had the opportunity to meet this morning with someone who landed a temp job, applied to a temp agency, had no idea what they would be offered, and said to show up at a certain location on a certain day, and they were told that for $11 an hour you would be working for 2 weeks at Pioneer in Johnston. So I had a chance to talk about what that experience was like, again, 90% of the soybeans and corn raised in the state are now GMO products. Roundup Ready, of course, is what's being used in these fields in Pioneer, which is glyphosate is the active ingredient in that. Now, the person I talked with, pointed out that the folks who, they hire, I didn't know this, at harvest time, they hire a lot of people to go in and do certain tasks out in the field relevant to the harvest. And, it's an 8-hour day, and you get a lunch break, and you get two very, very rigidly enforced 15-minute breaks, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So, this person, gets hungry during the day, snacks on almonds, and was told by one of the supervisors not to do that because you could be touching a plant and then reaching in and grabbing some almonds and eating that, and that could make you sick just from touching the plant. So again, one of the arguments made by the Indian fellow who is coming to Des Moines next week, who's pro-GMO in a big way, one of his arguments was that, well, GMOs use less pesticides, but here you have this person being told, don't even eat food out in the fields. Well, the more as I talked with them about this, it got more and more interesting, because apparently they're told that the chemical residues on the soybeans in this case can get all over your clothes. You are breathing it, and that could be a problem. It's touching your skin. You've got to handle the plants. And there's a sign on the facility that says, I don't have the exact wording, but it was something along the lines of avoid pesticide toxicity. Wear a mask, wash hands before using restroom. We often think, okay, you want to wash your hands after you use the restroom. Well, I guess if you care about your private areas, maybe you want to wash them before, according to this sign, if you've been out in one of Pioneer's fields handling their toxic plants. Take a shower as soon as you get home. Keep your clothes separate from your other laundry. Don't even wash them together. I'd love to actually see that sign, but that's in a nutshell what was told to me by this person that was on that sign. Again, I'll reiterate that. Wear a mask when you're out in the field because you're going to be breathing stuff from these plants that's bad for you. Wash your hands before using the bathroom. Take a shower as soon as you get home. I guess it's okay to get in your car with your clothes covered with these toxics. Or on your bike for that matter. Keep your clothes separate from other clothes and don't wash them together. What are we talking about here? What kind of product is this? How bad is this? Okay, so I wanted to talk about, so what do these fields look like? Well, it's pretty much all you see is that one crop. When I'm out in my garden, if I don't see bugs, worms, other animal life, birds, the occasional mouse, I'm concerned about the health of my garden. I realize I probably need more compost. I probably need to give this plot a rest. I probably need to do something over here to pump some vitality back into it. Well, it is so, according to this person, it was so unusual to see even a bug out in the field that when they would, they'd say to a coworker, "Hey, look, a bug!" And it was a big event. You go over and you see the bug out in the pioneer field. You would see no insects in the soil. You would see no no weeds in the soil, because again, these plants were designed, genetically modified to be, quote, Roundup Ready resistant, and everything else died a horrible death when the chemical came their way. So again, I said, well, you see any birds out there? Well, yeah, there were some geese flying overhead a couple times, but apparently not even any bird life found its way into the field. And you would think that birds would occasionally find it interesting to eat soybeans. I don't know for sure that birds eat soybeans. I would assume they would. If I was a bird, I would think that would be on my list of possible dietary delights. But again, if it's been contaminated with a toxic chemical so toxic that you can't even breathe it, you can't touch it, you can't. You can't. I mean, I'm not talking about touching the chemical. I'm talking about touching the plant that has, been sprayed with the chemical. Does that disturb more people than just me? I mean, I find that very, very troubling. So something else that was interesting. This person was at an orientation their first day after being authorized by the temp agency to report to duty at Pioneer. They were told on the first day that kind of here's what you will expect to see out in the field, and you should report anything unusual, such as a dead bird or dead animal, or even clusters of dead birds and dead animals. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, again, if people should be wearing masks, washing up afterwards, doing their laundry separately, what if a wascally wabbit, strays away from a car and runs out into the field? Yeah, I can guess that maybe that's the dead thing they're planning on, expecting people to find and report. They're also told to report fields, sections of the field. There's a section that might be dead, and I wasn't quite sure on what that would be, but maybe too much chemical application. Not sure. But the other interesting thing about this, and this again is something I would like to have scientific voices helping to have this conversation. You've heard about superweeds. These are regular old weeds that have developed immunity to glyphosate, that have found a way to alter their own genetics so they can resist Roundup Ready. Again, life will always find a way. Bugs will find a way. I'm assuming it's not just weeds that have found a way to be resistant to Roundup Ready. I'm assuming that there are plenty of insects out there. I mean, a plant usually takes 1 to 2 years to produce a crop of fruit or seed. But bugs, gosh, they're often going through 7 generations in 1 year. The time they need to mutate is much quicker than even plants. But again, we already have plants that are developing resistance to this chemical. Well, this is actually a very good deal for DuPont, Monsanto, the way I see it, because it requires them to come up with new ways of modifying the plant to now try to resist the new weed that can now withstand the chemical. It's going to assure full employment for a long, long time because this stuff will just continue. But at some point, you can't. I mean, this is unnatural. What's going on? And I know that the defenders of GMO say, well, we need these crops because we've got to feed the world. We need these crops because they use less chemicals in some cases. I mean, I can't believe that argument, especially after hearing this experience from this person who worked out in the field. Yeah, okay, it may be reducing chemical usage in some level, but I can't imagine it's reducing toxicity. And it certainly is not creating an environment where you. Really, it's not even a farm anymore. I mean, a farm by definition is diverse. It's life, agriculture. It's where life happens. And if all you've done is create basically an outdoor factory where only one thing survives that you can't even touch, that you can't even breathe, that you have to go disinfect yourself after you've been associated with it, that's not life anymore. That's poison. That's destroying life. There's something terribly wrong with that, and I want to talk more about it. It's tough to talk about because it is so complex, and it requires science and a scientific mind. So, hey, this is a program for you as well, folks. I invite you to call in if you've got input, ideas, comments on this, if you've got ideas for guests or specific content that we can focus on. This is a good time to be doing this because of the World Food Prize coming up and because of the unprecedented response from the local community in opposing the corporate element that the World Food Prize embodies. So again, we've got plenty to talk about on this conversation. It'll keep going on because we're Iowa, and we've got a hot button issue here that affects the whole world. So feel free again to contact me on my website by email at fallonforum@gmail.com, or my website is fallonforum.com, www.fallonforum.com. And by the way, I would be remiss in not reminding you that you can go to my website and also do your part to help keep the alternative to commercial broadcast radio going forward. And why is that important? Well, because speaking of monoculture, commercial broadcast radio is kind of like a Pioneer soybean field. You're only going to get one thing on there. It's going to be far right-wing talk, and it's about as chemically toxic to the brain as Pioneer's soybeans are to your flesh. So, go to my website, click on support, and please do your part. For $30 a month, a mere $30 a month, you can sponsor an entire program. I have 260 shows a year, and you can help sponsor one of them. And also, remember, Bradshaw has now been booted off the radio because of corporate takeover there, and he's on Webcast One Live as well, and we need to do our part to make sure that his voice keeps getting heard, because his voice and my voice are your opportunity to have your voice heard, because you're not going to find a willing receptor on commercial radio. All right, folks, we'll be back in a few minutes. I do want to thank Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions. Again, only small local businesses that believe in the issues we talk about are invited to participate in this program, and I appreciate those who do. And Tim has a great business. He's from Newton originally. He's passionate about conservation, about energy efficiency, and he will do an audit that will cost you nothing at all. It costs you $0, but you will get great information that can help you figure out how you can save energy in your home and how you can also save money. Because, you know, when that heat is just running out the windows and the doors and through the attic, you're wasting money and you're increasing your carbon footprint, and that will come back to bite you. Karma always has a way of catching up with us on those things as well. So, again, give Tim a call, 802-2801, 802-2801, or ReynoldsEnergySolutions.com. We'll be back in a minute.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 101 of WebcastOneLive.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going, man.
Hi, folks. It's Ed Fallon here. Proof Restaurant at 13th and Locust. You've probably been there for their award-winning, nationally recognized lunch specials. Well, now Proof is open Thursdays and Fridays for supper. And here's where the chefs really get creative. Let me tell you, they're like artists, okay? I've been there, and it is one of the best meals I have had in Des Moines. I've heard that from other people. You got to check it out. Proof for supper, Thursdays and Fridays, and also the second Saturday of the month. Do not assume you can get in. Make reservations. Contact Proof Restaurant online at proofrestaurant.com or 244-0655. That's 244-0655. Hi, folks. Ed Fallon here. When it is time to entertain, think of Gateway Market. Let them handle the details. Gateway offers a wide variety of stress-free options like cut-to-order cheese and charcuterie. There's a delicious olive bar and a wide variety of chef-prepared dips and spreads. Or let the catering team take care of the entire event, right down to the wine and beer pairings. The expert floral designers can even customize the perfect centerpieces. So stop by or visit Gateway Market for more information. Gateway is at Woodland and ML King in downtown Des Moines. Good food, great entertaining.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines. And check out ritualcafe.com.
I love driving to Newton to see the races.
Me too, but I only have to drive across town.
You live in Newton?
Yep, Newton's got small town charm and it's close to Des Moines. I love the safe, friendly neighborhoods and family-owned businesses. And Newton's wind energy industry is really taking off.
How'd you find your home?
Dan Kelly with First Choice Realty. And Dan helped me find my office too.
Next time, instead of just speeding by, I'll stop in and check out Newton.
Why don't you check out Newton? Call Dan Kelly at 641-521-9260 or Dan Kelly at mchsi.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back, folks. Hey, thanks for staying with us. I want to thank Pumptown. That's my favorite Ringgold County band. Okay, maybe they're the only band in Ringgold County, but they rock. Pumptown, that's their tune, Bicycle. And I want to thank Proof Restaurant for helping to sponsor this segment of our program. I also want to remind you that if you need your furnace checked, and if you haven't, you do, you want to make sure your furnace is not going to be poisoning you in the night. This is the time of the year where the furnace is kicking in, obviously. It's been sitting around all summer. Who knows what kind of mischief it's been causing. So go to my website, fallonforum.com. Somewhere on my website, there is a Fallon Forum freebie. It'll say, congratulations, you're the luckiest person in the world. And you've won a free winter check with Tinker Heating and Cooling. So if you are the first person to discover that, a little kind of like a little hunt there, a little Easter egg hunt, but in October. If you're the first person to find that, you win a free heating furnace check with Tinker Heating and Cooling. So if you want to join our conversation, folks, and sometimes I forget to give the number out. It's 244-0077, 244-0077. Well, Tim Dwight was supposed to join us, as he was earlier this week. So, Tim, you're 0 for 2, and I only allow 2 strikes. You are out. Sorry. I don't like being stood up. Anyway, remember that, folks. But if you want to call 244-0077, fortunately, there's plenty to talk about. And I want to talk about the Supreme Court election. But while I'm at it, let me make a few plugs for some events coming up next week relevant to our previous conversation on GMO products. Okay, so you know about the World Food Prize events. Those are pretty well published in the corporate media. But what you might not be aware of is October 16th, that's next Tuesday, from 6 to 8 p.m., a panel called What is Corporate Agriculture and Why is it Wrong for the Planet and the Human Race? Why do people on my side of the political aisle have to come up with such long titles? Anyway, it's a good title, despite the length. What is Corporate Agriculture and Why is it Wrong for the Planet and the Human Race? That's at the Des Moines Public Library downtown. That's between Grand and Locust on 10th. And the panel participants include Denise O'Brien, she's with the National Family Farm Coalition and a former candidate for Secretary of Agriculture who came darn close to winning. Francis Tickey is also on the panel. He's an author, a soil scientist, a dairy farmer, and also was a candidate for Secretary of Agriculture. You'll also hear from George Naylor, who is a family farmer, also featured in one of Michael Pollan's books, Omnivore's Dilemma. George is with the Iowa Farm Unity Coalition and also farmer Barb Kalbach with Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. Now, perhaps the biggest event next week is the Food Sovereignty Prize. I mentioned that. The award going to a leader in sustainable agriculture from South Korea. And that's going to be at the First Unitarian Church. That's down on the south side of Des Moines, 7 p.m. on Friday, October 19th. Anyway, and if you are inclined to join the protest side of next week's activities, there will be civil disobedience on the 17th, 18th, and the 20th. So, again, some of that, I don't know how that'll work out. I hope the message stays clear that it is the corporations are at the heart of this, the heart of the problem. Okay. So, again, I mentioned earlier this week, too, we had Mark Langen on this program to talk about the Polk Water and Land Legacy Bond. So when you flip over your ballot, you'll have a chance to vote for that if you live in Polk County. And if you don't live in Polk County, you should think about encouraging your county supervisors to get that on the ballot. It's there's no place in the state that couldn't do more with a little bit of funding to support conservation, water quality, and parks and recreation. When you flip the ballot over, and please consider voting yes on Measure A. And also, I would strongly encourage you to vote yes to retain Justice Wiggins. And again, why is this so important? I've been very impressed with some of the voices coming out in favor of retaining Judge Wiggins. And maybe this time it will happen. I mean, historically, about 25-30% of the voters will vote against judges just because either they're ornery, they're just in the habit of voting no on things, or maybe they got wronged by the judicial system. That happens a lot. So, or they feel they got wronged by the judicial system. They probably more often people feel they got wronged than they actually got wronged, but there's plenty of cases where people got wronged as well. So yeah, there's a handful of people who are always going to vote no. So the judges usually get retained. And again, they're not just Supreme Court, district judges as well. They're all on the ballot. That's how our system works. And it's a good system because it depoliticizes it. Again, you've got, for example, the Supreme Court judges until the election 2 years ago. You had judges who were appointed by Branstad, Vilsack, and Culver. So you had a bipartisan board. And again, it isn't just the governor. There's a commission, a nonpartisan commission that appoints people, that recommends people to be appointed. So it's a fairly good system. We don't see the kind of political wheeling and dealing by judges that you see in other states. And as a result, you don't see situations like we saw in Pennsylvania a few years ago, in Scranton, in that district, where a judge who had a strong personal financial interest in a juvenile home and whose campaign was supported by others with connections to that juvenile home, you saw a judge who was elected again, partly based on his financial connections and the campaign he won, the political campaign. He used his position to send kids to the juvenile home to fill it up to maximize its profit. This is a private. This is another argument too why we should be thinking about the foolishness of privatizing any element of corrections, or nearly any element of corrections. So here's a judge abusing his power, again getting his power because of his money connections, and then using that position in a way that is just horrific. I'm happy to report he's in jail, where he should be. I mean, that's horrible. Not the only situation. It come to my attention recently of a case in Kentucky where a judge who is, again, very well positioned, in part because of his money connections, is looking to rule against a mother in a custody case because she enrolled her daughter in a beauty pageant. Again, if you look at the opposition in that case has a financial connection to the judge. We don't have that problem here in Iowa. We don't have that problem. You want that problem? then listen to Bob Vanderplatz and continue to oust judges because they took a vote you don't like. I mean, I can think of plenty of decisions, court rulings here in Iowa and elsewhere that I don't like, but I'm not going to go ahead and bounce a judge based on one bad decision. A judge should get bounced if he or she is chronically, falling down on the job. If their rulings are consistently, out of sync with any logical, conclusion you might come to in a case, if they are consistently, not doing their work, if they're not showing up, if they appear to be, losing it up here, like most of us talk show hosts are, then maybe you want to send them packing. But the truth is, it has not happened until 2 years ago when three judges got bounced. It didn't happen much. I'm confident, cautiously optimistic. Let me say cautiously optimistic that we might be okay this time around. Justice Wiggins may be retained, as he should be. Again, even if you don't like the marriage vote, the marriage ruling in April of 2009, Chris Rance's point was, his point was the legislature knew, and I remember this in 96 and 98. I remember this conversation. This law is not going to be constitutionally defendable. People knew that. 11 of us voted no, both in 96 and 98 in the House, but all of us heard the arguments that this was not going to be constitutional. And so that's why there was an effort to try to move toward a constitutional amendment, which, again, a lot of us found to be particularly disturbing because, that kind of discrimination should have no place in Iowa, especially in the Constitution. So, the effort hopefully is going to lose some steam, because when you got Chris Rance coming out in favor of a viewpoint opposed by Vanderbilt, and again, the Republican, make this clear, it's not just Bob Vanderplatz, crazy old Bob, it's the Republican Party itself that has come out in favor of ousting Judge Wiggins. The Republican Party has taken a side on this issue. Now, you heard earlier in this program, I had a candidate running for office, a Republican, young guy whose primary focus is liberty. I kind of thought maybe he should be a libertarian, but on this marriage issue, he sees government should stay out of the way. His own party is coming down in support of Vanderplatz's effort to evict the judge. So as much as I am disappointed with the Democratic Party, and certain Democrats more than others, I look at the Republican Party. Okay, so if you've got a fringe crazy or two like Vanderplatz who wants to take it out on gay people, and in doing so take it out on the judicial system, I understand that. But if your party itself is going to come down on the side of discrimination and of disrupting a judicial retention process that has worked really well, that if it fails, we could see us going in the direction of other states where we have these horrible, horrible campaigns that lead to horrible judicial practices, like the two I mentioned. I don't think you want that. I don't think the Republican Party really wants that. Come on, folks. Whether you're a D or an R, you can't think that's a good thing. So make sure you flip that ballot over. Make sure you vote to retain Justice Wiggins, even if you don't know him, even if you may not like him, even if maybe he ruled a way or two that you don't feel supportive of. It's not the point. The point is we've got a good system here in Iowa. Let's keep it. Let's not screw it up. And let this election be the one that Bob Vanderplatz and others of his ilk who really, really hate gay people. That's the bottom line. They just don't like gay people. Right? They don't like gay people. They're going to tell you they like the sin. They're okay with the sinner. They just don't like the sin. I'm sorry. That's just another word for bigotry. So I do hope that you're going to take that vote. And I know my bike can't vote, and I do hope someday to be able to say that, yes, bicycles have also earned the right to vote. But bike, if you could vote, how would you vote on this issue?
Okay.
You're conservative. You've been around a long time.
Well, marriage is between two people, right? Two people get married, and then they go home and they be married for a long time, right?
Or two bikes.
Or two bikes. But bikes are people too, Ed. People isn't reserved only for humans.
Okay.
So what's the problem again with marriage? I'm confused that this is even an issue. You know what I mean? I would vote for gay marriage to be allowed and never be an issue ever again because it's silly.
All right. Well, have you thought about marrying yourself?
I am getting married. We talked about this.
Oh, that's right. You know, and I keep repressing that because I'm a little bit jealous, and I hope this doesn't ruin our rapport. And I hope you're still available to haul my sorry derriere around town.
Oh, I will haul it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, thank you very much. And again, out of the mouths of inanimate steel objects, you heard it, folks. Even bikes have enough sense to know that voting for Justice Wiggins is the right decision. So, folks, I will be enjoying, hopefully, a wonderful weekend here coming up shortly. But you should stay tuned for Bradshaw. He'll be with you at 1:30. I suspect Bradshaw will have a lot to say about the Biden-Ryan debate. We'll see where he goes on that. I tend to focus on a different set of issues. Kind of tired of the debates, to be honest with you. But again, I want to thank all of our sponsors, including Proof Restaurant. Proof is in downtown Des Moines and now open for supper. I had a fantastic meal there on Wednesday. And they often are booked on Fridays and Saturdays. If you want to make reservations on Friday and Saturday, get it in early. And increasingly, I think you're going to have that problem on Wednesday and Thursday because the food is pretty sensational. Some of the best meals I've had in Des Moines at Proof Restaurant. Again, really, check them out. 13th and Locust in downtown Des Moines. Of course, they're always open for lunch every day of the week, Monday through Friday. That is 11 to, I think, 2:30. But if you haven't experienced supper at Proof, you have not fully experienced the cultural and culinary crossroads of the continent that Des Moines has become. So check them out, proofrestaurant.com at 13th and Locust in downtown Des Moines. Folks, have a great weekend, and I will be back on Monday on the Fallon Forum.
I'm just saying. 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 Ching ching. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Feeling alone? God knows and He understands. Chat now with someone who cares at groundwire.net.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. And he said not only would he like to be a sponsor, but he would offer a $100 tithe for every customer that came and bought a car from him directly to the church of your choice. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.